This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Habayim. We're continuing in Mishna Berura, Daf Hashavua. We're learning Siman, Lamed Beis, Seif, Chaf Ches. Siman, Lamed Beis, Seif, Chaf Ches. Yesh li Zohar. You should be careful. Shelo yikanes roish halamed be'avir hahei. That the lamed should not go into the airspace of the hay. Ay haches, or the airspace of ches, afilu beloy negia, even without touching it. So, for example, we have in diagram 2, where the word yoichal, the lamed is going to the airspace of the hay, or in the word veloy, the lamed is going to the airspace of the ches, vehachiti. That you cannot have. Says the Mishna Berura, sivkatan kuf chaf tes. Shelo yikanes, afilu koshu, even a tiny bit. Roish halamed b'shura shalamali himenu. The head of the lad should not even go koshu into the line above it. Vuadin b'chaf pshuta. Likewise, in the end of chaf, the final chaf, chadam, so he comes with shor shamata, but is test ba'ayin v'chadoyma. So, for example, in diagram 3, the word diganecha, you want the chaf to go into the tes, or the chaf into the ayin. You should not do that. Okay, sif katan kuf lamed, ve'avir hahei, v'adin ve'avir aleph, aytaf, v'chadoyma. The same thing would be, let's say we're going to go to picture number 4, where the lamed would go going into the aleph, or the lamed going into the taf. Certainly should be careful that it doesn't go into the airspace of a dalid or a reish, so it doesn't look like a hey. So what would that be? Here, the word tifta, if the lamed of koil goes into the airspace of dalid, it looks like a hey. Or if the lamed goes into a reish, it could look like a hey. Oy haches. Let's go to picture number 6. Oy haches. Says in Mishna Berura, "V'adinim nichnas roish lam l'toich avir shel chaf pshuta." Likewise, if a lamed goes into an end of chaf, ukil kameh b'sivkatan kuf lamed beis, that's also a problem. Shuvas maharim mi brisk b'simen ches ayin sham v'chein hekel b'zeh hagon Rabbi Kiva Eger b'chidushav b'diavad. Okay. Kuf lamed beis beloy negia. To be negia, this is talking about without touching. Why? Let's look in diagram 7. Because if it's touching, there's a problem that it's not surrounded by parchment. So if the lamed of Yochel touches the hay of Moshe, it's going to be a problem. The Mashma from Lashon HaShulchan Aruch, who writes that you should be careful, the dafka lechatchila. This whole din of the mechaber is mashma only lechatchila. Avaloy liikuva b'diavad. It's not ma'akev. Bahani mili. When is it not ma'akev? Shaloi nichnas v'inyan sheyafsid tzuras ha'os, where it doesn't enter in a way where it ruins the image of the letter ayidezek. Going shenichnas rak ma'at. Let's say it only enters a little bit. However, if, let's say it enters a lot, where the word yoichal, mamish enters, it's getting too close for comfort in the word Moshe. Aval, im nichnas kolkach, b'inyan shenishtana tzuras ha'os, if it changes the image of the letter, shatinoik d'leichakim v'loi tipish, that your average kid, im nichasab loi shita hatachtoina, if you were to cover the lower line, shalai yanira rak roish halamed, if he would just see the head of the lamed, v'loi guf halamed, lo yakir ha'os, mahu havashina tzuras ha'os u'pasal. You hear this? So let's say you would cover the bottom of the, you see, if he sees that the reason why there's something sticking into the hay is from the word below it, then he'll recognize that it must be a hey on top. But if you cover the bottom line and he just sees there's like another yud in the airspace of the hey, then it's going to be very confusing to the kid. The kid's not going to understand it. So that's going to be a problem. It's by tikkun. It's not possible a tikkun because it's going to be out of order. Certainly, if a lamed enters a dalid, let's see what that is. Like this. You see the word tifdeh. I don't know what's underneath it, but there's some lamed going into the dalid, and if you cover the bottom line, it looks like tifheh. There it's not going to help that a kid could read it properly because our eyes see a hey. By covering the line below, our eyes see a hey. Our eyes see that it changes to another letter. Siv Chav Tes.
Rebbe, would there be no problem with chaktuchis here because it's not the actual surah of the physical letter?
Well,
it's possible anyway. I'll look the sidron, but to scrape away that middle part of the lamed, the top part of the lamed.
How's that can help? You need a lamed.
Yeah, I'm saying you're up to the lamed, so I'll rewrite the lamed. I'm saying in terms of the hay, is that changing the tsuras of the hay to like it's not an uksiva.
No, I don't think it's chaktuchas. Chaktuchas is when you scrape away the letter to create the tzura of the letter. But to scrape away a different letter, I don't think that would be chaktuchas. Okay. Siv Chav Tes. Siv Chav Tes. If the parshios are not frequent, are not fluent in your mouth, you need to write it from something which is written. It seems like if you know the Parsha Bal Peh, you just write it. Meaning it sounds like you're not required to write something from a previous written document. But if you don't know it, you have to make sure you're writing it mitoch haksav. Says the Mishna Berura of Kadon Kuflam Gimel Shkuros Befiv Dahainu Be'eshu Mascha Lichtov. At the time you begin to write Mistama Adain Ein Baki B'Kriyasin, you're probably not a baki in reading it. Balpeh Karoi Uvefrat B'Malei B'Chaser, especially in Malei and Chaser mitoch haksav Oi Mipi Makri, or from a Makri. Meaning, either you could write it from another document, or someone could read it to you. Mixas Parsha Shkur B'Piv Mutar Lichtov Oisay Mixas Balpeh. V'ayin B'Bach Shekasav D'Mikamak Mitzvah Min Amuvcha Lichtov B'Chol Gavnei Mitech Haksav. Look in the Bach who writes that it's still l'chatchila to write it from another previously written document. Sif Lamed. Einoi Rashoy Lichtov Elam Ken Yodea Likrois. You're not allowed to write tefillin unless you could read tefillin. Why is that? Says in other words, you can't write stam unless you could read. Says Mishra Sif Katan Lam Kuflamed Hey Yoidea Likrois the Ilafhachi Bekal Yachalitois in a Magish. Otherwise, you could easily make a mistake without realizing. Let's read Seif Lamed Aleph. Im Einoi Koisev Mitoch Haksav. If you're not writing from something that was already written, lo yichtav al peh, don't write it by heart. Shemakra isay acher, elam ken yachzerhu v'yikra b'piv. You're not writing from another document. If someone else is reading it to you, you should not write it unless you say over the words. Okay, we're going to hold it over here, Rabbi Say. Have a good day. Bracha v'atzlacha. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.